Older Persons, Act 13 of 2006. Protect our senior citizens, older and partially blind persons. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Republic of South Africa. Stand together for rights. Various photographs have been used in this booklet and will be acknowledged at the end of this booklet. Page 2. Background. The Older Persons Act 2006 is intended to protect, promote, and maintain the status, rights, well-being, and security of older persons. It is an act that aims at combating the abuse of older persons. Who qualifies to be an older person in terms of the Act? An older person is the person who, in the case of a male, is 65 years of age or older, and in the case of a female, is 60 years of age or older. Page 3. What is an abuse of an older person? An abuse of an older person occurs where any person, in a relationship where there is an expectation of trust, does something or fails to do something that causes harm or distress, or is likely to cause harm or distress to an older person. What are the types of abuse that amount to abuse of older persons in terms of the Act? Bullet. Physical abuse, which means any act or threat of physical violence towards an older person. Example: pushing, clapping, biting, throttling, stabbing, threats with a fist, threats to kill, etc. Bullet. Sexual abuse means any conduct that violates the sexual integrity of an older person, which includes sexual penetration by a genital organ or object, flashing of genital organs, compelling an older person to watch a sexual act, the use of sexual slurs against an older person such as bitch, whore, slut, etc. Page 4. Bullet. Psychological abuse means any pattern of degrading or humiliating conduct towards an older person, which includes repeated insults, ridicule, or name-calling, repeated threats to cause emotional pain, repeated invasion of an older person's privacy, liberty, integrity, or security, etc. Bullet. Economic abuse includes depriving an older person of economic or financial resource he or she is entitled to by law, including those that he or she requires out of necessity, for example, failing to provide money or food to the older person, children with an older person to force him or her to pay for the well-being of your children, employing an older person to take care of your children without a salary, using the old age pension funds, retirement funds or finances of an older person to pay for your expenses without her permission, etc. Page 5. Economic abuse also means disposing household effects or property that belongs to an older person, for example, selling the house, furniture, or any other goods of the older person without consent of such older person, spending the retirement funds or inheritance of the older person without consent, etc. What are the rights of older persons in terms of the Older Persons Act? The Act gives the older person the right to: Bullet. Participate in community life in any position appropriate to his or her interest and capabilities. Page 6. Bullet. Participate in intergenerational programs. Bullet. Establish and participate in structures and associations for older persons. Bullet. Participate in activities that enhance his or her income-generating capacity. Bullet. Live in an environment catering for his or her changing capacities. And Bullet. Access opportunities that promote his or her optimal level of social, physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Page 7. Who must report the abuse of older person? Bullet. Any person who suspects that an older person has been abused or suffers from an abuse-related injury. Where the report must be made. The report must be immediately made to Bullet, the police, or Bullet, the Director General, Department of Social Development. The report may also be made to the social worker who will then assist in taking action against the abuser. Failure to report an abuse of an older person amounts to a crime punishable by law. Page 8. What is the immediate relief available to the older person after the matter has been reported to the police? Bullet. Upon receipt of report from the social worker, the police official may issue the alleged abuser with a written notice calling upon him or her to leave the home or place of residence of the older person or stop entering such place or having contact with the older person until the matter is dealt with by the court. Page 9. Bullet. On the court date, the magistrate will consider all issues raised in the written notice and may thereafter make the police eviction a court order. Bullet. The magistrate may also grant a maintenance order against the abuser where necessary. What happens if the abuser fails to obey the court order issued in terms of the written notice? Bullet. Failure to obey the court order is an offence. Bullet. When found guilty, the abuser may be required to pay a fine or be sent to jail for a period of not more than 5 years. Page 10. What is the procedure of bringing the alleged abuser of older person before magistrate? Bullet. Any social worker or health caregiver may provide sworn statement of alleged abuse to the public prosecutor. Bullet. If the prosecutor is satisfied with the report, he or she will request the clerk of the court to summon the alleged abuser. Bullet. A magistrate may issue a warrant authorizing social worker or healthcare provider to take a police official with him or her for purposes of investigation should there be access restrictions at the place where alleged abuse older person resides. What happens to a person who deliberately prevents the case from being taken to court? Bullet. It is an offence to prevent a social worker or health caregiver from performing his or her duties. Page 11. What happens during the inquiry in court? Bullet. A magistrate must inquire the correctness or otherwise of the allegations contained in the summons. Bullet. The proceedings may be held in an open or closed court. A closed court refers to proceedings held in the presence of a few people selected by the magistrate. However, public members are allowed to be present in an open court. Bullet. If it appears to the magistrate that any allegation in the summons is correct, the magistrate may, Bullet, authorize the person concerned to accommodate or care for the older person under such conditions as imposed by the magistrate, or, Bullet, prohibit that person from accommodating or caring for any older person for such period, but not exceeding 10 years as may be determined by the magistrate. Page 12. Bullet. It is an offence to fail to obey the order of the court. What happens when the alleged abuser is found guilty of abuse of older persons? Bullet. The convicted abuser may be sentenced to pay a fine or go to jail for a period not exceeding 5 years, or to pay a fine and also go to jail for the same crime. Bullet. The particulars of the convicted abuser will be entered into the National Register of Older Persons, which is kept by Department of Social Development. Bullet. The Act prohibits any person whose name appears in the register from operating or be employed at any place that gives access to older persons. Page 13. Bullet. The registered person is also prevented from providing any community-based care and support services to older persons. Bullet. The victim may be removed from home to a place of safety by the Department of Social Development where necessary. Photo Index. The following is a list of photographs that appear in this booklet. Cover page. The pictures on the cover page depict 4 elderly citizens, 2 males and 2 females that also represent our various races in South Africa. Page 2. The picture on page 2 shows a young hand holding the hand of an older person. Page 5. A younger female walks with an elderly lady showing support and drawing her close with her right arm around the shoulders of the elderly woman. Page 6. The picture on page 6 shows an elderly couple, male and female, walking with their walking sticks along a path. Page 7. The picture on page 7 shows an elderly female smiling. Page 8. The picture on page 8 shows an elderly gentleman's face staring straight ahead in thought. Page 13. The same picture appears on page 13. Page 16. This page has been left for you to jot down notes. The picture that appears on the last page of this document shows the entrance to a government building. Page 14. Useful contact numbers. Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Open bracket, DOJ and CD. Close bracket. Telephone 012 315 1111. Department of Social Development, open bracket, DSD, close bracket. Telephone 012 312 7500. Department of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, open bracket, DWCPD, close bracket. Telephone 012 359 001 or 0013. South African Police Service, open bracket, SAPS, close bracket. Telephone 10111. Commission for Gender Equality, open bracket, CGE, close bracket. Telephone 011 403 7182. Page 15. South African Older Persons Forum. Telephone 021 422 5286. South African Human Rights Commission. Telephone 011 484 8300. FAMSA National. Telephone 011 833 2057. Lifeline. Telephone 011 728 1347 or 0861 322 322. Stop Woman Abuse. Telephone 0800 150 150. Chief Directorate, Promotion of the Rights of Vulnerable Groups, Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Telephone 012 315 1111 or fax 012 315 1851.